while we're talking about top notch, the other news that I saw that I found very interesting is that Victory, who has been known in the past couple of years for doing like, in my opinion, very affordable amps made in the UK, and obviously modeled after some of the like US or Brit classics that are out there, and but also giving it like their own spin. As of this year, they're also entering the high-end game. And it kind of reminds me, it's like whenever I look at a Turok, there is a distinctive visual aspect also about Turok. And the first thing that I saw that I thought when I saw these new Victory amps, which are called the MK Clean and the MK Overdrive, is like, okay, it looks a little bit like a Turok to me.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it for sure.
Definitely. And so here it says, Victory amps brought 2 new models to the show. The MK Clean is a monster clean machine with loads of headroom. So that's like the typical like Turok thing, like 100 watts, high headroom. What else? Spring reverb, bright switch, selectable EQ voicings. On the other side, the MK Overdrive is a 3-channel setup with independent gain control, switchable volume levels, presence, and more. Production begins in March, and they will go around 5K. Yeah.
From what I saw, there was an interview with, I'm not sure the name, Martin Miller, I think, used to be at Cornford, and he was explaining that this particular one, the Overdrive version, is kind of taking from one of the Cornford like flagship amps.
Yes.
And there's just a new approach to it. And Martin Kidd
is the guy who was at Cornford. He also worked at Matchless, actually, as far as I know. Okay. So he was also a designer at Matchless. If I don't quote me on that, it's possible that I mixed it up, but I think he was also involved in, at least for some time, in Matchless. And yeah.
Okay.
So here's the MK Clean.
Yeah, so it looks like these are based off of something that was done with Cornford amps, but they're kind of like revamping them and having a new approach to them. So I don't know. They're hand wired. They're built in the UK. I have no experience except with the Kraken pedal, the V1. So I don't know about the amps. But judging from the reputation of Victory and what I've heard so far, someone who wants that specific amplifier with the options it comes with, it might be worth $5K. I've never dropped that much money on an amp before, or even a guitar for that matter. So when you put that price point, I'm thinking, well, I might as well forget it because I'm never going to fucking buy this. But it's not because I wouldn't want to. Maybe I would plug into this and weep myself to sleep at night thinking, fuck, I'm going to have to sell everything to buy this fucking amp. But I'd rather not.
Yeah.
When I see the price tag on something, sometimes I go, okay, I have to erase this from my mind because I'm never going to buy this. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to drop $5K on an amp. And $5K, are we just talking about the head alone? Or are we talking head and 2x12 cab? Or
no, that's just for the head alone. And you were right about what you said. So starting point for the MK Overdrive, where there is no image on this website. I think they didn't make or create images for that one yet. So the starting point for the MK Overdrive was the Cornford MK50, Kid's revered blues rock amp head. The end goal for Kid here was to design the ultimate overdrive amp. So he's taken some of that stuff that was in the Cornford and made the whole thing like a multi-channel amp. Clean. The Overdrive channel, meanwhile, supposedly has enough muscle and aggression for modern rock and metal players. So he's kind of taking all the stuff that he offers in different heads and puts it into one kind of high-end format. What I've, like, the context from all the stuff that I've seen is the reason why they are so expensive is, they're made in the UK by hand, but also they go no compromise on components. So they buy the most selected and expensive components you can get for building these, similar to what Turok does, and that's why they're so expensive. And he goes like, this is for the guy who doesn't want variables in what's coming out of the amplifier, So it's going to be interesting. I mean, they're not going for volume here. They're not going to sell hundreds of these amps. It's impossible. No. What else does it say? Yeah, it comes with several custom finishes.
I know from the interview. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. From the interview I saw, they were saying that you can order the amps with different finishes, different Tolex and all that. So for that price, if you have that option, I mean, if you're willing to put $5,000 on an amp and you can choose the color you want and all this stuff, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. The amp's production starts in March. The MK Clean costs $5,000 USD and the MK Overdrive $5,200 USD. There are also 1x12 and 2x12 cabinet pairings. The price of these is dependent on your chosen specification, so speaker type, and probably what kind of Tolex you want, and what kind of color and handle and whatnot. And while we're at it, they also released the Deputy, which is a collaboration with Danish Pete from Andertons, which is, let's find an image. There's an image. So one of these like more compact amplifiers, very light, very, very compact. And it's called a Deputy because the basis was the Sheriff, so the Victory Sheriff, or the vintage channel, to create a testament to simplicity, delivering a pure and powerful classic rock sound. Yeah. What does it say?
That would be more my style.
Yeah, most likely.
Something like this. Simpler, 25 watts. Probably, I don't know what the price point is, but I'm going to imagine that it's going to be less than $5,000.
Yeah, I think it's 1,500 or something.
So,
1,500 for the head.
More reasonable.
And remember, they're still built in the UK, so it's not like, there are amps that cost 1,500 and they're built overseas. So,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm totally fine with that. So he says, something that's in between a very clean amp and a Marshall-y kind of crunchy high gain amplifier, depending on the settings that you choose. So nice. I really like that.
It's very cool. They seem to have a lot of signature gear. Victory, like a lot of signature amplifiers, right? Which is kind of neat because, like, my understanding is that a lot of them are based off of like the DNA from very popular amps, like the Kraken. I think is based off the 5150, but with like tweaks that make it its own thing. And the Copper, I think, is based off of kind of like a Vox style amplifier. The Sheriff, more Marshall. So yeah, those are really interesting, but then again, like I said, I've never played them, but I do want to play them. When I lived in Canada, Victory was like, to us, a very pricey amp because it's an import.
Yes.
But here in Europe, they're really affordable.
Yes, they are.
Compared to what they are back home.
100%.
And I find that kind of I find that really interesting that stuff that is made here sells for far less than what we purchase back home.
Yeah.
Like Victory being one of them. A lot of the pedal brands that come out of Europe are way, way expensive back home. Like if you have those on your board, people look at you and they think you're a dentist or, someone who makes a shit ton of money. And over here, you can get them at like fairly reasonable price. But then again, the switch is that someone that's here in Europe, they see Gibson as like high value and They're going to see Mesa Boogie as being like awesome, the epitome of amplifiers. And it seems like just because we're overseas and we're looking at the products being made somewhere else, because of the import and all that and how much it costs, they get sold for a shit ton of money. So Victory, when I was in Canada, like I was looking at the price, I was like, holy fuck, these things are expensive. Yeah. And then I get over here, I walk into a music store, I'm like, holy fuck, these things are pretty affordable.
Yeah.
So while I'm here, if I can grab one and I like it, I'm probably going to purchase it here rather than back home because the price difference is huge.
Yeah, definitely is.